This is the spiritual reading for the week of February 24th, 2019. But boy, there's a lot of spirits here today. This wind, it was interesting because on Saturday there was this stillness and the silence within the world. And it's been a long time since I heard nothing, including, birds and animals and traffic. And it was the weirdest thing. And I was wondering what was happening or what was stirring up. So the wind was, quite interesting and how powerful it was today, because this video is a little late in me getting it done. I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. But there's a lot of stir up from Earth in general. This wind is part of that stir up. So everyone's gonna get some sinus stuff gonna start to occur over the next week. A lot of it has to do with the different temperatures and stuff like that, but with this wind, it really stirred up some stuff that we're all breathing in. And so you'll either have, itchy noses or sinuses or a sore throat or something, but, we're all going to be hit with a little bit of something, and level of degree would just depend on your immune system and what's going on at this point. So let's get to the readings. So John G., you really love motorcycles, and that's okay, especially Harleys. But your dad, Michael G., wants you to remember that you can be as safe as you can be. It's the other people on the road you have to worry about. And with majority of the drivers that are distracted because of cell phones and just multitasking and everyday life of stress, that the rules of the road, so to speak, can very easily not be followed. And to be safe, especially this spring, there's a lot of warning while you're on the bike and distracted driving. So just be very aware of your surroundings. You usually are, but you can get distracted as well as everybody else can. So just be very careful and very aware. Okay. Carolyn W., your grandmother, Samantha, wants you to remember that life is more about what you're doing and living it than planning for it. You plan way too much for everything, and you don't stop and smell the roses, so to speak. So she's saying take the time and live your life. Don't plan your life, because it'll fly by way too quickly. And that's the way she lived her life. And there was a lot of things that she would have done differently if she was living her life, not planning it. So make sure you start living, Carolyn. All right. Wilma C., and it might even be misspelled C, like C-E-E. C-E-E-Y. Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, your grandmother as well, Mary, wants you to know that your suspicions about the relationship that you're in is true, and that it's your choice on what it is you want to do about them. And that makes sense on why they gave me the full name, because obviously we don't want people out there just having relationship problems because their first and last initial matched, and they are having issues. So I was curious why they spelled it. But anyway, so your choice on what you want to do and how you want to handle the situation. You already knew that the relationship was potentially going nowhere, yet you hold on to things for dear life because change is very difficult for you. Change is not a bad thing. It may feel like a bad thing in the beginning and for a while, but in the end, change allows us to grow and find things within ourselves and within others that we're missing. And even if that relationship eventually comes back around and circles back around, so that way it's a healthier relationship than the current timeline, so be it. If you choose to want to stay in it, so be it. That's your choice. But if you choose to ignore the suspicions that you have, again, that's fine. That's your choice. It's your life. But you can't constantly harbor on it, because all it's doing is ruining you and creating more of a push within your relationship. So the best thing to do is just talk about it, put it out on the table. And so everybody can actually speak about what's actually going on, instead of rumors or suspicions or, aggression, because you don't want to say anything, but yet, you're going to act differently. So, and interesting enough, that's the general message they want me to leave you guys on. Communication, it sounds, so simple, and it's not. And I know personally how hard that actually can be. The thing is that without communication, we tend to fill in the gaps, and we fill in the other person's thought processes and emotions and goals and everything else that they may not be having. So as tough as a conversation can be regarding certain things, that it needs to happen. So seek out, a counselor or somebody who can be the middle person, so to make sure you guys are communicating appropriately when it's about situations that are going to be difficult to discuss. But in general, the small little communications every day is what avoids those big problems later. So if you're someone who, and I know there's a lot of you out there, who expect certain things from your partner, but yet don't voice what those things are, most people are not mind readers. And the only ones that are really aren't mind readers. They're just spiritually connected and getting information. So, stop assuming somebody knows you well enough to read your mood or your face or would know what you want. Because in the end, everybody's distracted by something. And just as much as somebody may know what you may want, they could easily forget too, depending on what's happening. So communicate, and life does get better. And it definitely gets easier.